Kia ora, welcome to the morning ramble. Today is the 19th of July. Tis a Tuesday, still in the year 2022. We had some mist this morning. Looks like it's actually pretty much burned off here. We did get a travel alert, so I'm sure there will be some kicking around somewhere, as is the case. We had a lot of water come down, and now that the heat's kicking back in again, that's going to convert to the usual suspects, and of course anything that's green and growing is really going to be markedly more of it. So it is what it is. Yeah, this is our field at the moment. I'll just quickly, you can see that there's a lot of stuff coming up. This is what happens when you don't have sheep anymore. See, things get out of control. I'm not really worried about it. I'm not even remotely worried about it, other than having to go in and retrieve fence posts and things. But it's nice. There's lots of growth, which is always a good thing. Let's talk a little bit about growth then, shall we? Personal growth, I guess. Oh, lots of lovely flowers over here. Tangent, squirrel. Get these lovely little copses, flowers, and among the clover. It's lovely. Anyway, this is a nice time to be out walking because the temperature is actually really quite comfortable. Personal growth. Well, is that even a thing when you get to a certain point, But anyway, let's assume the positive. Change is good for the most part, I guess. Silver linings and all that. So I have changed a few things. I made the conscious decision to pretty much stop my gaming hobbies, and for those who know me, you know that that's probably a fairly big deal because I've been doing it for 4 decades plus. And honestly, it's not that I'm going to stop it, but let's just say put it on pause and focus or refocus on some of the other stuff that really at the moment right now is a little more important. There's a downside to this. The downside is that's a creative outlet, and I'm a huge fan of imagination and creativity. I don't think there's enough encouragement in this space among our youth to free think and free imagine, because a lot of the stuff that they get given is all spoon-fed again, made up by other people, and becomes part of the pop culture phenomenon. And don't get me wrong, that's actually great. The geeks will inherit the earth kind of thing. I think it's good because there was a time when if you were a nerd or a geek, you were the unpopular one, or the one who was a bit of a pariah at school or whatever. And these days it's almost a 180-degree flip. It's very accepted and very acceptable. I was talking to a friend the other day about one of his I can't remember what it was, nephew or godson or something, who's huge into Harry Potter, which is awesome. So that whole pop culture phenomenon is kind of cycling through, but and this applies to video games, I think, as well. You get spoon-fed a lot of it, so making your own thing I think can be very, very, very difficult. And I don't know that we're encouraging our youth to do that. And this reflects an outside the box thinking, the ability to take risks, and the ability to connect the dots without traversing the gap between, a little bit of paradigm thinking, all these things. And this is a generalization, so don't take this as I think this is in all cases, but I think it's becoming an increasingly rare thing. Now, this is not to say that, imagination is not being used, creativity is not being used. It just tends to be, a lot of focus around derivative works or based on, Star Wars is a huge phenomenon. So a lot of people are into cosplay and writing fanfic and all that kind of stuff. So I don't know. I guess it's taken on a slightly different shape. And they say, imitation is the sincerest form of flattery. So, there is that as well. But from a creative outlet, at a personal level, I guess it kind of hasn't been hugely satisfying for a while. And so this is probably leading to this inevitable conclusion. I've just been resisting it. But then the question is, what do you replace it with? Or should you replace it? And I think the answer is yes. Still, like a lot of gamers, I still have the urge to tinker with things, even if I never end up using them. I think there's a lot of value in those thought exercises, because you're dealing with, expressions of mechanics and rules and wrapping it around something which is of your own making, even if it never sees the light of day or ever gets played. There's some value there. So that's kind of where I'm at the moment, is rather than going cold turkey, is just kind of, I guess, playing around with some things that I've had on the back burner, and I have no real expectations that they're ever going to be finished. But that's okay. That's not actually the point. The point is being able to keep that part of the brain that requires a little freedom of expression in play, so to speak. And that may, eventually lead to writing. It's one of my goals, but again, I don't know. That's too far ahead to kind of think about at this time. Really, the focus right now is getting through this next stage, keeping busy at work. We've got a lot going on, and then around that, from the real life, well, it is real life, but from the home life perspective, is getting to this next phase relatively painlessly. So if I do rabbit on about that a lot, I do apologise. It is pretty high on the list. And again, while we're in this weird voice-only transitional stage, that is offset somewhat by a degree of frustration, I guess, in that we can't necessarily do more. We just have to kind of get on with it and just let time do its thing, and hope that the world doesn't go to hell in a handbasket in the meantime, because it's not looking too good, honestly. Keep poking a bear enough times and that bear is going to lash out. So yeah, we hope it doesn't come to that, but anyway, nothing you can do about it. You can only control what you can control. So yeah, I guess the ramble this morning is about creativity, or what to do when you don't, or when you've consciously given up a time-consuming creative part of your life. Not because it doesn't serve a purpose, it certainly served a purpose, but there's just not enough hours in the day, and you really have to prioritize things that need to be done. My time management definitely needs a lot more work, but I've just come out of the bad week plus, so I'm trying to ease back into things. Anyway, so thought of the day, if you have the ability to do things that are creative and imaginative, then you should absolutely, totally, completely, 100% do that, and don't let anyone tell you otherwise. Even if someone thinks it's frivolous and silly, that's on them, not you. I think there's a lot of value in imagination, as I said, for encouraging creative solutions to problems in most parts of life and work. It's just whether you get the opportunity to do that, and then how you apply it, consciously or unconsciously. So yes, the thought of the day: embrace your creative, and celebrate that as well, because that is, particularly if you're doing something that's unique, that is a very rare thing, or an increasingly rare thing, and rare things need to be celebrated. They need to be encouraged. So yeah, there you go. And as always, you do you. All right, that's my ramble. Gonna do my walk back. No real talk on ducks. I think we're all ducked out at the moment. We did have a nice rainbow yesterday. I did take some photos and video of, but unfortunately the cloud decided it was going to come over and cover a chunk of it, and I couldn't quite get the whole thing in the picture, so I don't know if I'll bother posting that up. But it was very, very pretty. It was a huge rainbow. It was one of the largest ones I've seen. So I don't know if that's a good sign. Who knows? Let's be positive and say that it is. All right. Be well. Have a great day. Take care. Kia ora. Ramble again tomorrow. Ciao.